Once again, in today's class, we will talk about reflective practice. So what is reflective practice? Reflective practice is, in its simplest form, thinking about or reflecting on what you do. So as humans, of course, we all need to do some kind of reflective practice so that we can improve ourselves. So it's all right to actually talk to ourselves, so you can uh, go in front of the mirror and ask yourself and then reflect on what you have done on that day. So it is closely linked to the concept of learning from experience, in that you think about what you did and what happened and decide from that what you would do differently next time. So whenever you reflect, uh, it won't just stay as knowledge, it will come out as a wisdom as well. So thinking about what has happened is part of being human. So it's all right to think about what happened to you earlier that day, may it be negative or positive. However, the difference between casual thinking, you're just thinking about it, and reflective practice is that reflective practice requires a conscious effort to think about events and develop insights into them. Once you get into the habit of using reflective practice, you will probably find it useful both at work and at home. So let's talk about the key components of reflective practice. First is self-awareness. Reflective practice starts with self-awareness. You know about yourself. So it requires individuals to be mindful of your thoughts, feelings, and actions during specific experiences or situations. With the reflective practice as well, we have critical thinking. Reflective practitioners engage in critical thinking to analyze their experiences objectively. They question their assumptions, or what you thought about that information or experience, your first judgments, biases, and beliefs, considering alternative perspectives. So you're not just thinking about one perspective, you're trying to think other ways, other paths, and in that way, you do critical thinking. Then documentation, keeping a journal or records of experiences is a common way to engage in reflective practice. So it's all right. For example, you can really express yourself with uh, spoken words. You can definitely choose to uh, do diaries to document about what you have felt, release your emotions. Whenever you keep your own diary, you will definitely know more about yourself. I actually do it most of the time. I keep a diary, so I learn more about myself. We all know that as humans, we keep our uh most of our memories in our subconscious. So with diaries, we also record about our lives that we may have forgotten already. And with our diaries, we are reminded of what we may have forgotten already. Okay. So this documentation can be written or digital and should include details about the situation, thoughts, emotions, and actions taken. So, of course, with reflective practice, you don't just document them. So that's just thinking. Whenever you do diaries as well, you have to tell yourself that you have recorded this. And with the next time that you would somehow write another thing, you will already tell yourself that I have already improved, I have changed. Okay? Then analysis. Reflective individuals go beyond merely describing events. They delve into deeper analysis. They ask themselves questions like what went well and what could have been done differently to identify areas for improvement. For example, you failed your math exams, so you would look at your math paper and then look at your mistakes and ask yourself, what could I have done differently to correct this uh, questions in the future? Or maybe you uh, have had an argument with your friends. You would have to analyze what have happened. And of course, you would have to ask yourself, what could I have done differently to prevent that argument? So with that, you identify areas for improvement. So whenever we do reflection, we actually are thinking how to improve ourselves. And with that, you learn and grow. So that's for learning and growth. We mature more. Okay? We grow mature and change things. The ultimate goal of reflective practice is learning and personal growth. By reflecting on past experiences, individuals can develop new insights, improve their decision making skills, and become more effective in their professional or personal lives. So, reflective practice is widely used in various professions. For example, in education, teachers often engage in reflective practice to improve their teaching methods and better meet the needs of their students. In healthcare, medical professionals use reflective practice to evaluate patient care and enhance clinical skills. In leadership and management, executives and managers may reflect on their leadership styles and strategies to become more effective leaders. So, what is reflective practice once again? Reflective practice is a concept often used in various fields, including education, healthcare, psychology, and professional development. It involves the process of looking back on experiences, actions, or events and critically analyzing them to gain insight, learn from mistakes, and improve future performance. The primary goal of reflective practice is to enhance one's knowledge, skills, and understanding by actively thinking about and evaluating their own experiences. So, as humans, we all need to do this reflective practice. So, let's delve on models of reflective practice. With Erdrich and Sean, they identified two types that are particularly relevant in the development of teaching practice. Anyway, let's talk about who they are. Donald A. Sean was born on September 19, 1930, and he passed away on September 13, 1997. Meanwhile, Chris R. Grease was born July 16, 1923, and he died on November 16, 2013. So both of them created this theory on congruence and learning that asserts that people hold maps in their heads and how to plan, implement, and review their actions. So both of them talk about single loop learning and double loop learning and reflected action, reflect in action. So let's talk more about what congruence learning theory is. So congruence learning theory is not as well known or established as some other learning theories like behaviorism, cognitivism, or constructivism. However, it is a concept that has been discussed in educational and psychological contexts, particularly in the realm of experiential learning and humanistic psychology. Congruence learning theory primarily relates to the idea of authenticity, self awareness, and personal growth in learning process. So Sean claimed to derive the notions of reflection and action, responding to problematic situations, problem framing, problem solving, and the priority of practical knowledge over abstract theory from the writings of John Dewey. So John Dewey is also a psychologist and a philosopher. Although education professor Harvey Shapiro has argued that Dewey's writings offer more expansive, more integrated notions of professional growth than do Sean's. So Sean advocated two types of reflective practice. Firstly, reflect on action, which involves reflecting on an experience that you have already had or an action that you have already taken and considering what could have been done differently, as well as looking at the positives from that interaction. So, with reflection on action, it is past experiences. Meanwhile, the other type of reflection Sean notes is reflection in action or reflecting on your actions as you are doing them and considering issues like best practice throughout the process. So let's simplify this. With reflection action, you are reflecting on your past actions. Meanwhile, with reflection in action, you are trying to reflect on your present actions as you are doing them. So that's their differences. Okay. Then single loop learning and double loop learning are two concepts introduced by organizational theorist Chris Argyris. These ideas help organizations and individuals understand different ways of responding to problems and challenges. So single loop learning is the simplest form of learning where organizations or individuals make adjustments within their existing strategies and structures to address problems or challenges without questioning or altering the underlying assumptions or goals. So its characteristics are it is a form of problem solving where the focus is on fixing the symptoms or immediate issues. It is also the underlying assumptions, values, and goals, and it remains unchanged. It is often a short term, reactive approach to problem solving. Feedback is used to make minor adjustments, but the overall system or framework is not fundamentally challenged. So, example of using single loop learning. So, in a business context, if a company is facing declining sales, single loop learning might involve adjusting the marketing strategy, changing the sales team, or offering discounts to boost sales. The underlying assumption that the product is desirable and the market positioning is correct remains unchallenged. Then, double loop learning. Double loop learning is a more comprehensive and reflective approach to problem solving. It involves questioning not only the strategies and actions taken, but also the underlying assumptions, values, and goals that guide those strategies and actions. So its characteristics, it involves a deeper examination of why certain actions were taken and whether the organization's fundamental beliefs and goals need to be reevaluated. Once again, like single loop learning, we do feedback. Feedback is used to challenge and potentially change the existing mental models and the way the organization or individual perceives the problem. It is a more strategic, long term approach to learning and adaptation. Example, continuing with the business example, if a company is practicing double loop learning, it would not only address declining sales, but also critically examine whether the product is still aligned with the market's needs. For example, uh, do you still have to make sure that your pandesal is still that large, or you have to um, change how large the pandesal is already? So if the target audience has shifted, or if the company's core values and mission require adjustment, this process involves a more profound reevaluation of the organization's purpose and strategy. Okay, so we're done talking about Agris and Sean's reflective model. So the next is David Kolb's model of experiential learning. So this model supports you in reflecting and drawing conclusions from a hands-on experience that you have while teaching, if you are teaching. It also promotes planning to do something different and testing it out. It combines everyday experience with evidence-based educational research. So they are concrete experience, reflective observation, abstract conceptualization, and actively experiment. So with reflection observation, your reflective observation will be your initial reflection following the experience. Useful questions you can ask yourself here: what was I trying to do? What did I do? Why did I do it? So you can ask those questions when you are observing your initial reflection. So first, let's define what is concrete experience. Concrete experience refers to direct, hands-on experiences and activities that individuals encounter in their learning or daily life. What you experience hands-on in your everyday life. It involves real-world situations and sensory perceptions, such as seeing, hearing, touching, tasting, and smelling. So with concrete experience, in short, it's just what you experience every day. Then, abstract conceptualization is a cognitive process that involves the formation and manipulation of abstract ideas, concepts, or theories. It is a key component of Kolb's experiential learning theory, which outlines a four-stage learning cycle with abstract conceptualization as one of the stages. Then active experimentation. This refers to the phase of learning cycle where individuals apply what they have learned and tested in a real-world situations. For example, you already learned theories in your school, and with that, you will test them in real world situations. It involves taking the knowledge, theories, or concepts gained through reflection and conceptualization and using them to make decisions, solve problems, and take action. Then let's talk about Terry Borton's model. Terry Borton's 1970 book, Reach, Touch, and Teach, popularized a simple learning cycle inspired by Gestalt therapy, composed of three questions, which ask the practitioner, what, so what, and now what? Through this analysis, a description of a situation is given, which then leads into the scrutiny of the situation and construction of knowledge that has been learned through the experience. Subsequently, practitioners reflect on ways in which they can personally improve and the consequences of their response to the experience. Borton's model was later adapted by practitioners outside the field of reflection, such as the field of nursing and helping professions. Then Kolb and Fry. Learning theorist David A. Kolb was highly influenced by the earlier research conducted by John Dewey and John Piaget. Kolb's reflective model, which also draws from the works of Kurt Lewin, highlights the concept of experiential learning and is centered on the transformation of information into knowledge. This takes place after a situation has occurred and entails a practitioner reflecting on the experience, gaining a general understanding of the concepts encountered during the experience, and then testing these general understandings in a new situation. In this way, the knowledge that is formed from a situation is continuously applied and reapplied. So that means you have to keep on repeating, for example, reading your textbooks so that you can continuously apply and reapply them, building on a practitioner's prior experiences and knowledge. For example, you have to keep on cooking and cooking for you to be able to improve yourself. Okay. Then let's talk about Gibbs' reflective cycle. So for Gibbs, you have to describe what has happened first. Then you have to describe your feelings on your experience. What were you thinking and feeling during that event? Then after you describe your feelings during that particular event, you have to evaluate what was good and bad about the experience. And after that, you have to describe once again or analyze the event that happened. What sense can you make of the situation? And with that, you will finally get your conclusion. What else could you have done during that event, even if it's already positive? You can definitely think once again if you could have done something different to make it better. And with that, you will finally create your action plan. If you are given another chance to create that event, for example, you are tasked to teach someone or maybe create a birthday event, you can definitely use this Gibbs reflective cycle so that you can improve yourself and be better again. And for example, you are a writer, you are planning to write a story, you will have to describe what happened, your feelings during while you were writing your book, evaluate your experiences during that time, then analyze your skills, conclude what you could have done more to improve your writing, and with that, you will be able to create an action plan so that you improve your skills, you improve your life. After that, let's talk about Christopher John's model. Professor of Nursing Christopher Johns designed a structured mode of reflection that provides a practitioner with a guide to gain greater understanding of his or her practice. It is designed to be carried out through the act of sharing with a colleague or mentor, which enables the experience to become learned knowledge at a faster rate than reflection alone. Johns highlights the importance of experience, knowledge, and the ability of a practitioner to access, understand, and put into practice information that has been acquired through empirical means. So reflection occurs through looking in on one's thoughts and emotions. You're looking inside yourself. For example, you are in front once again, in front of a mirror once again. You are trying to look inside yourself, in your own mind, your own thoughts and emotions. You're trying to look deeper about who you are. Then looking out at the situation experienced, or what is actually in front of you. Okay, so that's looking out at the situation experience. So sa loob and then sa labas. Yun yung pinag-uusapan natin dito. Okay, so Johns draws on the work of Barbara Carper to expand on the notion of looking out at a situation. So 5 patterns of knowing are incorporated into the guided reflection: the aesthetic, personal, ethical, empirical, and reflexive aspects of the situation. John's model is comprehensive and allows for reflection that touches on many important elements. Okay? Then Stephen Brookfield, lens 1, for Stephen Brookfield, or autobiography as a learner. So when we say autobiography, once again, it is our own story. It is our life, actually. So for Stephen Brookfield, it will serve as an important source of insight into practice. Okay? So as we talk to each other about critical events in our practice, we start to realize that individual crises are usually collectively experienced dilemmas, or what we say as our problems. Analyzing our autobiographies allows us to draw insight and meanings for practice on a deep, visceral, emotional level. And definitely, we learn more about who we are. Then lens 2, our learner's eyes. Seeing ourselves through learner's eyes, we may discover that learners are interpreting our actions in the way that we mean them. But often, we are surprised by the diversity of meanings people read into our words and actions. We have to remember that our words are interpreted differently by different people. So everyone has their own reading comprehension or just comprehension. Okay? So there is definitely diversity of what other people think about us. So cardinal principle of seeing ourselves through learners' eyes is that of ensuring the anonymity of their critical opinions. We have to make learners feel safe. Seeing our practice through learners' eyes helps us teach more responsibly. Then lens 3, our colleagues' experiences. Our colleagues serve as critical mirrors reflecting back to us images of our actions. Talking to colleagues about problems and gaining their perspective increases our chances of finding some information that can help our situation. Then lens for theoretical literature. Theory can help us name our practice by illuminating the general elements of what we think or idiosyncratic experiences. Now, let's talk about this again. For those who are late, I'm just going to talk about key components of reflective practice. I will read them once again for you. So let's talk about key components of reflective practice once again. With reflective practice, when you do reflective practice, you will be able to be self-aware once again. You will be able to be mindful of your thoughts, feelings, and actions during specific experiences. With reflective practice, it will improve your critical thinking. So we can question our assumptions, biases, and beliefs. And then we document our experiences. You can do this for your own reflection. Keep a diary, keep a journal, record what had happened to you, but you don't just keep them. While writing them, you have to tell yourself that I won't do this again, or maybe uh you will be reflecting on your experiences if you wanted to repeat them once again. For example, you enjoyed um biking on a mountain, hiking, and etc. So you are definitely engaging in reflective practice. Then you will analyze your own thoughts. So reflective individuals go beyond merely describing events. They delve into deeper analysis. So you go deeper into your own experiences or to your own thoughts to know more about yourself, improve who you are. They ask themselves questions like what went well and what could have been done differently. So with reflective practice, you are trying to improve your own skills and of course trying to develop your uh, self. And with that, you definitely learn and grow and be more mature. So by reflecting once again on your past experiences, individuals can develop new insights, improve their decision-making skills, and become more effective in their professional or personal lives. Okay? Once again, reflective practice can be used in education, healthcare, leadership and management, and also healthcare psychology. So we do have Argris and Sean. So I'll be asking these models to you later, if you do remember them. We do have Argris and Sean. David Gold, Terry Borton. So those are our philosophers here, Gold and Fry. Gibbs, Christopher Johns. Then Stephen Brookfield. So he's the last one. So do you have questions